Hello fellow Star Wars fans, my name is Starrapter here, and I'm very excited, especially today. If you are a book fan, a comic fan, this should really get you guys psyched because we have our first chapter revealed for Star Wars Light of the Jedi, the first novel in the upcoming High Republic era of Star Wars stories set 200 years before the events of the Phantom Menace. So this was revealed to us on IGN. There's also some cool little tidbits that Charles Soule revealed in an interview. We'll talk about that after I summarize this very first chapter of the High Republic. I'm going to give you guys kind of my Cliff Notes version. So before we even get into the story, at the top of the page, they mention kind of like, if you will, it would be the crawl for Star Wars. They kind of talk about the galaxy at large. What is happening? This is a time that is very prosperous. There's so much strength in the Republic at this point. You know, they are still with the Jedi and the Republic are one thing, but they haven't colonized quite as far as they have in modern Star Wars times. The Outer Rim is pretty much unexplored, but they are starting to have people go out there and basically make a new home out there. So the Jedi are in charge of this program, the Starlight Beacons, which will give them sort of outposts in the Outer Rim, because the Outer Rim is so far from the core that at this point, Coruscant is still the head of the galaxy. There's a chancellor involved, just like there is with the Phantom Menace, but they don't have much power out there. So the Jedi are the guardians out there, and that is where our story starts with the character of Captain Hedda Cassett. She is the pilot of the Legacy Run, which is transporting 9,000 people to the Outer Rim. So the story starts off kind of in a slower build-up, which is very much appreciated for what happens at the end. But before we get there, we have Hassett talking about how she used to be a military person, working with the Malastarian Sullustan Joint Task Force. So right there, we're already getting this really great lore, and we repeatedly get a lot of great lore throughout this story that we haven't heard of, because this is all new to everybody with Star Wars. None of us have experienced this era of Star Wars storytelling, even in Legends. So this story kind of goes with her exploring the ship. She explains about how hyperspace back then, 200 years prior to the Phantom Menace, is incredibly dangerous, and even going to core worlds, sometimes you can get thrown off the hyperspace tunnel. So to go all the way to the Outer Rim, even though they're in a very safe spot, is still very, very dangerous. And she's going and talking to the passengers as a little kid. She's having a conversation with, it's a very like happy sort of, oh, this is going to be an easy job. This is going to be a very easy, like a milk run. And it turns out it is far from that, because as she's in hyperspace, she's at her chair, she gets this alert, there's somehow an object in the middle of the hyperspace lane, and that cannot happen. Like, they make hyperspace travel so that they make adjustments to droids. They have droids in this time, make adjustments to anything that can get into the past. So how is this happening? That's the part of the story that we don't know. So anyway, she takes manual control, is trying to avoid the object. She has about 10 seconds going at that speed. She avoids the object, but unfortunately her ship just like gets torn apart. And this is a pretty massive ship because there's 9,000 passengers on it. And that is when she dies. So there's an interview with Charles Soule, and he's explaining that this is the catalyst. This is the great disaster that they were talking about when they first revealed the High Republic. And this ship, the Legacy Run, is now having parts of it and pieces of it flying through hyperspace. Now it's going to go through like the core worlds, like pieces, large chunks of the ship are going to become basically like missiles, just like firing out of this hyperspace lane all throughout the galaxy. So that is the crux of what starts all the conflicts in the High Republic. So this was a story that I thought was really good to start off the High Republic. We start off very cool, everything is going according to plan, and then it's like all hell breaks loose. And that is how you start a story. That is especially how you start a story that is going to have many authors involved, many different mediums. I'm so excited that we have this, but I'm also really bummed that we have to now wait until the beginning of January, which from the time of recording this is still like 7 months away. So it's kind of like a big tease, but it's appreciated that Lucasfilm gave us something to kind of chew on, because it's going to be a long wait, and maybe they'll give more glimpses into characters and different things like that. But I really appreciate it as well that the first character that they really introduced to us is this non-Force user character. And there's so much built up about, yeah, the Jedi are going to be like the lone stars of the galaxy, and the Force is a big deal. Heck, the first line of the entire story is saying basically the Force is with the galaxy. And that is the first line of the book and the first line of the High Republic. So obviously the Force is going to be a big, big deal. But the fact that we get these characters like we did in the Old Republic, you got characters like Carth Onasi and other characters that aren't Force sensitive that still are a large part of what makes the stories happen. So that I very much appreciate. Again, there's so many cool little canon tidbits, everything from these organizations down to a different kind of incom ship that isn't an X-Wing. That is so awesome. And the fact that we still have the droids, we still have very familiar things in the galaxy, but it's still 200 years prior to anything we've ever seen before. So what did you guys think of our first big look at the High Republic in light of the Jedi? Let's talk about it all in the comment section below. For more on the High Republic, I have an entire playlist of the High Republic videos that I've been talking about, things like lightsabers and the different Jedi we've had revealed and whatnot. So if you like this video, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this channel, as I am going to be talking about the High Republic a heck of a lot, especially when the books start coming out. So that's going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.